And in the backcourt, Damon Jones, veteran backup, will start in place of Dwayne Wade with Eddie Jones and that terrific backcourt of Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker. Ginobili playing as well as any guard.
Eddie Jones has got to come alive offensively. He's struggled mightily already, and Damon Jones has to play defense, slow down the dynamic and vibrant, explosive Ginobili and Parker.
Well, good evening, everyone. Along with Bill Walton, Mike Breen on hand as these two teams meet for the first time this season. Again, Miami losing for the first time last night at home to Dallas. Their first loss of the year. Without Dwayne Wade, what kind of adjustments do they need to make to stay competitive?
Shaq's going to have to play a lot more than the 27 minutes per game he's averaging. They're going to have to come up with offense, and they're going to have to try to control the tempo. The Spurs want to push it.
Spurs very good here in this new building. They've won 15 in a row regular season games dating back to last year, including the first two. Ginobili puts in his first shot. And what a start to the season Manu Ginobili's having, averaging over 21 a game.
Hitting over 20 in 3 of the 4 games. When you go right at Eddie Jones in the first play of the game, in the post-up play, Ginobili, that's a great statement.
Meanwhile, good statement from Jones, who drives hard at Nesterovic, who picks up his first. And Eddie Jones will shoot two.
If you're asking Nesterovic, why are you fouling anybody other than Shaquille O'Neal? They don't have a lot of size on the bench, San Antonio. They need every foul they can keep for Nesterovic.
Meanwhile, Stan Van Gundy, of course, would love to see Dwayne Wade on the floor, so maybe a positive out of this is to get Eddie Jones going a little bit. Jones is only shooting 36% from the field, averaging in single digits right now. Even was booed at home a little bit last night, so he's struggled now with the adjustments they've made.
Eddie's really only had one good quarter in the 5 games they've played this year, and that won't get it done.
He's led the team in scoring the last 4 years as Nesterovic misses on his first attempt.
Shaq moving so well, wearing the knee pads tonight. Zone defense is, I think, you rarely see from San Antonio.
O'Neal fires it off the backboard a little bit too hard. And here come the Spurs.
They'll try to front Shaq every single time.
Nice defense from Jones, but somehow it gets back to Nesterovic, and he rushed his shot a bit.
Nesterovic is looking at Shaq, and well, he should.
Butler puts it in. You know, we talked a little about the impact that Shaquille O'Neal has had, obviously just on the floor, but you can see the way that his teammates carry themselves on the floor now. They're just oozing confidence playing with him.
What does a great player do most? He makes everybody else around him better. He's given these guys a championship mentality.
Nice pick and roll, and Duncan can't connect. Butler with the rebound. Here's Damon Jones getting the start without Dwayne Wade. O'Neal. Easy two for O'Neal, who's still working himself into basketball shape. Bothered by the hamstring a little bit, but coming off his best game of the young season last night, though.
Shaquille O'Neal with the knee pads and the fancy iridescent shoes there in the training room with Ron Culp, getting treatment on that hamstring. Looks very strong in the early going. Mobile, agile, and explosive.
Good ball denial from Eddie Jones. Ginobili trying to fight over screens. Jones still one of your better defenders. Duncan, nice move.
Delivering the jump hook with the little half hitch. This is going to be a nightmare of a matchup for Stan Van Gundy all night long. At some point, I think they're going to have to play some zone, and they're going to have to put Shaquille O'Neal on Tim Duncan.
Who's the happiest person about Dwayne Wade not playing? Who would you think? How about Tony Parker? Butler can't play. Parker is going to guard Dwayne Wade. Popovich told us, you know what? I want to see how he does. Let's face a tough challenge. Duncan is fouled, so he'll shoot two.
With Shaquille O'Neal flashing into the lane here, Nesterovic puts his arms up and bails out. When a defender does that, you know he's given up on the play. Tim Duncan, much the way Akeem Olajuwon and Kevin McHale always got into their jump hook. Come in, establish your pivot foot, hitch back to the right, and then power right through it.
Duncan hits the first. How about Udonis Haslem has got to guard Tim Duncan tonight. Last night he had to guard Dirk Nowitzki, who had quite a game, getting over 40. Haslam's not a bad defender, but he's only 6'8".
And then Tuesday night, Miami is up at Minnesota against Kevin Garnett, who's playing tremendous basketball, the reigning MVP.
All time, 3 minutes gone by. of their road games so far this season. But this is a different building when you talk about getting a good road game. O'Neal. Duncan with the board. Duncan second in the NBA in rebounding behind Kevin Garnett.
If you're San Antonio, you just want to run and make the Heat quit.
The Starlets way short. Parker does a good job trying to poke it away, but Damon Jones comes away.
It is not an easy travel situation coming here from Miami. They had the late game last night. Offensive foul. Easy play to call.
Stan Van Gundy didn't like the call, but that's the second personal on Eddie Jones.
Eddie Jones trying to get it going on the offensive end, but Manu Ginobili has every bit of the athleticism that Eddie Jones used to have in the prime of his career. Eddie Jones, another one of those players who's been saddled with the high expectations that go along with the monster contracts.
So Jones sits down with the 2 fouls. Wesley Person comes in on a perfect pass from Duncan as Parker goes back door.
Mike, I'm going to disagree with something you said a couple of moments ago about Parker being happy that Wade is in here. I've always found that the top players, they want to go head-to-head against the best that there is.
Nice entry pass, and O'Neal able to put it in. I'm going to ask him at halftime. Are you happy, Tony, or are you sad? Parker's been struggling shooting the ball, so maybe that'd be a good thing for him to just forget about his shooting woes this early in the season. I can't imagine anybody being happy about guarding Wade as Ginobili hits the three-pointer. Manu Ginobili shooting 44% from long range, and he's got 5 points.
Manu Ginobili telling us this afternoon he has the great responsibility to live up to the trust and confidence that Greg Popovich placed in him with that magnificent $52 million contract he received this season.
O'Neal looks like he's rushing his shot a bit early. Parker, lightning quick block, but a foul. Damon Jones shoot him on the arm, and Tony Parker will shoot a couple.
Changing defenses. Always want to try to front Shaq, but it's very difficult because of the pinpoint passing capabilities of his new Heat teammates. And then this time they play behind him, forcing Shaq. But anytime you can change up the rhythm of the opponent, you're going to be doing yourself a major favor. Starovich playing so much better this year than he did last year, trying to replace David Robinson, now a part owner of the Spurs, who's here in attendance tonight with 2 of his sons.
Popovich watching Parker take the free throws. You saw Parker's numbers, just 33% from the field. Popovich feels that Parker trying to prove that he's worth every cent of it early instead of just going with his regular plays. You see Robinson on hand, but just calm down, play your game. Don't worry about scoring so much. Just play and direct the offense like you've been the last several years.
Nice to see David Robinson in the purple suede shirt. Looked a little bit like the Jimi Hendrix's purple haze out there.
Go right back to the 60s. Parker gets inside.
That was just afternoon.
Duncan, long-range jumper is short. And O'Neal the rebound. Robinson, by the way, now a part owner of the Spurs. 5-point lead for San Antonio. Just over 6.5 remaining in the first. He just kind of throw it up there, blocking the Starovich got a piece of it. Good double team from Duncan.
The lob was too slow and too soft, too much of a banana arc.
And O'Neal did not get back down the floor that time. And Rashawn Starovich, his first field goal.
And Van Gundy up working the referees, saying, whatever happened to the rules against shuffling your feet and traveling violations in this game?
Van Gundy talking with Joe Forte as the Spurs go on a 7-0 run.
Transition game. You play it on defense. You come with the collapsing double team there. And Starovich gets a hand on it. Duncan was right there as well. And then up the floor in transition before Shaq could even get back. Right now, the Heat in a...
San Antonio Spurs by 7. They're certainly one of the favorites to win a title this year, but not just this year, maybe for the next several years through the end of the decade. The reason? Their star core players all locked up with contracts. Manu Ginobili signing a 6-year, $52 million deal. Tony Parker extended 6 years for $66 million. Of course, Duncan with his 7-year deal over $122 million. And not only those 3 core players, other valuable players as well. They don't have to worry about contracts for the next several years, Bill.
Stability and character. What they have done here with Duncan, Ginobili, Starovich at 5 more years, Brent Berry with 4 years, Bowen with 3 years. The fact that these guys realize what a special core they have here, this is going to be a tremendous team for years to come, particularly in a league that seems to change 20 to 25% of its rosters every single season now.
And you got to give a lot of the credit as Butler can't connect. Nice rebound from Haslam. Haslam goes right back, and Duncan can't get it to go. And Nestorowicz comes away with it. You have to give a lot of the credit to a guy you don't hear a lot about, but he's done such an amazing job, General Manager R.C. Buford.
He never wants to take any credit or draw any attention to himself. Speaking to him today at practice, he was just, well, this is really nothing of my doing here. Tim Duncan earns a well-deserved trip to the line.
Duncan's been getting to the line over 10 times a game through the first 4. I showed you his numbers earlier at about 67%. And we're back again as Brent Barry comes in for the first time, and Ginobili gets a rest. There you see his free throw shooting a couple of years ago. Then last season shot a career low, under 60%. He's been much better this year until the last game. And we'll get his 2 now with just over 5.5 remaining here in the first. Line drive that time. Looking for all the latest news on the NBA? Watch NBA TV Insiders every weeknight at 7 p.m. Eastern on NBA TV to find out tomorrow's NBA news today.
A player as tremendous and complete as Tim Duncan, free throw woes are totally mental. The concentration, the lack of importance placed on free throws, possibly. Certainly nothing fundamentally wrong with his shot.
When he tends to shoot a lot of free throws, he gets in a little bit of a rhythm. Haslam took his eye off it and dribbled it off his foot. Stan Van Gundy knows that if his team's going to compete without Dwayne Wade, they cannot turn the ball over very often tonight. They really have to protect the ball.
You know that the Heat philosophy under Pat Riley, under Stan Van Gundy, is all about starting on the defensive end, but tonight they've got to come up with some sort of offensive force.
Barry well beyond the line. Doesn't need that one. Good boxing out from Haslam.
Shaq in transition. When he's moving like that, get him the ball. He'll run deep underneath the basket and just stop.
Haslam knocks it down. Udonis Haslam, in his second year in the league, is coming into tonight leading the league in shooting. Obviously, it's very early in the season, but he's shooting 69%. He's averaging 12 a game. He has really benefited from Shaquille's presence.
Haslam and Butler will both be wide open all the time as the Spurs continue. The supporting cast around Shaq is not good enough right now to get them all the way to the top. Brent Barry, what a pickup.
But perfect passing again. We saw that last week in LA against the Lakers. They put on a passing clinic during one stretch of the game. Haslam doesn't get that to go. Bowen knocks it out of O'Neal's hands.
This pace completely favors the Spurs.
Duncan forced that and then tips it out to Bowen. You won't see a lot of zone by the Miami Heat. In fact, Stan Van Gundy said if you see a lot of zone, we're in some trouble. He's not a big proponent of the zone. Parker, pretty move. That's poor defense that time.
Well, the high screen and roll that everyone likes to utilize against Shaquille O'Neal. Tim Duncan, that time matched up in transition. They just immediately recognized that situation and brought Shaq away from the hoop. They was backing off. Udonis Haslam up top.
O'Neal can't get it to fall. Haslam, good offensive rebound, lost it, able to get it back again.
Nestorowicz just looks so much better than he did a year ago.
Meanwhile, Haslam, good second effort, had to put it up and in.
But when your power forward is dribbling away from the basket to the 18 to 20 foot mark and having to drain jumpers, that spells trouble.
Although that was off an offensive rebound, Haslam saw the shot clock was winding down. Miami Heat trying to stay with the Spurs without their leading scorer. Dwayne Wade has become a special young player in this league. He have to be special tonight, though, in street clothes after what happened last night at home against Dallas. First half, this is the first thing that happened. You see Josh Howard fall on it. Now, he wound up staying in the game, but then in the fourth quarter, taking a step back, steps on teammate Michael Doliak's foot, and twists the left ankle. And this was earlier in the pregame when he walked into the SBC Center on the boot. Of course, having treatment done on it frequently. They play again Sunday at home against Milwaukee. He's iffy for that game, but shouldn't be much more than that. As Stan Van Gundy said, you know what, you go into San Antonio, it's hard enough to score against the Spurs, then you have to do it without your leading scorer. So it's going to be a tough task for the Heat tonight.
Miami has only won one time here in the franchise's 17-year history.
Beautiful passing by Brent Barry. How many times did we say that? Beautiful passing last week. That's what this team, they're an amazing passing team, so unselfish.
The way they spread the floor, now they put Rasha Nesterovic on the bench, they've come with Malik Rose, and they immediately drop into the zone defense against Shaq.
Malik Allen on the floor for the Heat. Foul against Malik Rose, away from the ball against O'Neal.
You talked in the open about Duncan being the complete player. Well, this is a complete team, particularly with guys who think the game of basketball, which you really need when you're building a franchise around Tim Duncan.
Barry said he was just waiting for the call when the free agent period started. That's the place he wanted to go, San Antonio.
It was his first choice from the beginning. The way they play, the guys on the team, the franchise. Nice drive by Damon Jones.
Malik Allen with the second effort. So Allen able to put it in. Spurs lead cut to 9.
Second string front court for San Antonio. Can they hold on to their lead? Can they keep Shaq from taking control of the paint?
Malik Rose, Tony Massenberg, and Bruce Bowen. Barry, nice adjustment, comes up short, and it's going to be Heat ball.
Remember that San Antonio Spurs no longer have Kevin Willis, who's now playing for the Atlanta Hawks. This is when Kevin Willis was always at his best against Shaquille O'Neal and the big power teams. They don't have that overwhelming size and strength on the bench anymore.
Massenberg, a good seasoned veteran, doesn't have the size of Willis. Played in a lot of places, as has Damon Jones, and Jones knocks it down. Damon Jones, a nice pickup. They lost Referral. And Jones has been a backup for a lot of different places and always seems to do a good job. 9 NBA teams in 7 years.
Well, he started his NBA career here what seems like an eternity ago. The pick and roll, they are just torching Miami with that.
And Tony Parker is 4 for 4. Remember, he came in struggling with the shooting. We were at a shoot-around earlier today. He worked a lot after practice, shooting the basketball. Was here early, shooting the basketball. And a foul on Massenberg. So Massenberg picks up his first.
The ball goes into Shaquille O'Neal on the previous play, and everybody, you got 5 guys in the paint. Tony Parker's right there. He's got to rotate up there. But no, he's much more concerned about Shaq, and he's going to say, hey, we'll live with this three-point shot by Damon Jones as opposed to giving Shaq an easy shot at the hoop.
That was a 14th foul against the Spurs. Malik Allen, nice little move off the dribble. Allen, another of the young players. He's only 26 in his 4th year out of Villanova. He's getting some extra time. And you can just see a much more confident player with O'Neal on the floor. Parker, pretty move, but barely grazed the rim.
Transition defense. Who can slow down the push of the ball by the Heat in a rare fast break opportunity? They're just coming at Shaq on to pass in.
Damon Jones again. Back-to-back threes for Damon Jones. After the play, touching it, just changing the clock. The Heat coming back nicely.
But Damon Jones has done a nice job with those back-to-back threes here, trying to cut into the deficit. And ball goes into Shaq. Everybody's collapsing in the bottom right corner of your screen. Damon Jones is waving his hands. Hey, I'm open, I'm open. The ball finally comes there on the skip pass. If he can drain that shot, maybe he'll be able to stay around on a franchise that is clearly going to be looking to upgrade all the positions around Dwayne Wade and Shaquille O'Neal in the years to come.
Well, Damon Jones, a 37% career three-point shooter. He's always been a backup, occasionally starter when somebody gets injured. Last year played for Milwaukee, the year before for Sacramento. Malik Rose inside, Massenberg lost it.
Brent Barry's passing, especially the way he quickly gives it up.
Person. Knocked away by Ginobili, and then a foul. Ginobili's defense was so good, he made Person hesitate on what should have been an open shot, and then recovered to help force the turnover.
What a player. And now you team him up with Brent Barry. And to have these guys, the way he's able to shut down Wesley Person on the closeout, force him to swing the ball, then get back and contain that guy as well. Tremendous effort.
Seeing third in steals, over 6 boards a game. He's shooting 54% low. Superb start. There's a real good chance he's going to be an all-star this year, Bill.
Don't go under the limb now, Mike. Where do they find these guys, the San Antonio Spurs?
Malik Rose steps up, air ball. Damon Jones looks up at the clock. Plenty of time to get off a quality shot. And Barry contested beautifully. I think he got a piece of it. Barry's defense was the difference. And that will end the first quarter. Spurs came out red hot. Tony Parker hit his first 4 shots from the field. San Antonio went up by 11. Shaquille O'Neal and the Miami Heat coming back nicely. A mini run of their own. And after 1 quarter from San Antonio, the Spurs lead the Heat by. Brent Barry's in his 10th year in the league. This is his 5th NBA team. His first year at San Antonio. Never was it a more perfect fit.
I had a choice in all this matter. You know, that's the big difference. And being a free agent, you have an opportunity to explore all your options. And I was waiting for San Antonio to call, period. That was it. And when I got the call from Pop, you know, I remember I was having dinner over at a friend's place, and as soon as I talked to him, I said, look, Pop, you know, whatever it takes, I want to come.
And he signed that deal, and he's already fit in so well, though he still says he's trying to figure out exactly where he needs to be for this team, but he is already a huge addition. And although Brent Barry loves playing for the Spurs, Barry family right now going through a very difficult time. His younger brother Drew and his wife Raquel, they have a 1.5-year-old daughter named Kylie who has a very advanced stage of cancer. They're in Atlanta right now, and obviously with doctors all the time. And Brent wanted us to send his love to his brother and his family, and let them know that they're thinking of him. And we certainly send Drew and his family and their precious little girl all our prayers as well.
I second that emotion, Michael. It all makes everything seem so irrelevant when you have to deal with life's most serious issues. It just isn't fair.
You see Keon Dooling in the game, throws it off for Allen. And speaking of new players, and they don't have a lot of them because so many core guys back. One of the new players, Nino Udrich, is in there as Ginobili kicks it out. An offensive foul called on Manu Ginobili. Udrich is the 22-year-old rookie point guard from Slovenia who's become a backup point.
Like 9 players back from last year's team that came within 0.4 of a second from going on to yet another championship here in San Antonio. But the Spurs were leading in the first quarter 21-10 when Greg Popovich took out Rasher Nesterovic and Tim Duncan. Miami and Shaquille O'Neal exploited the backup front line for the Spurs and finished the first quarter on a very solid 12-4 run.
Keon Dooling, Michael Doliak, Eddie Jones, Malik Allen. And there's a foul on Udrich. We've been impressed with him. Lefty. A lot of scouts saw him. He was at the Chicago pre-draft camp, but he was picked with the first round, the 28th overall selection, so obviously at the very end. But a very good, solid point guard.
Stints in Russia, stints in the Greek League. Right now, though, in a golden opportunity. Eddie Jones coming alive.
And that's what the Miami Heat need tonight. Eddie Jones knocks it down. Right back within 1.
Damon Jones really gave him the spark and the confidence they could get this thing done without Dwayne Wade.
Good defense from Allen.
Very fast.
Norrie off the mark. Ginobili tried to tip it, goes out of bounds. You know, you can talk about the addition of Shaquille O'Neal and what that has and what a huge impact. But the coaching of Stan Van Gundy, he showed last year what a terrific coach he was, and even admitted, we were talking to him before the game, how this year he just came in with confidence. He knew he was a good coach, but until you actually coach in the NBA, he said, you know, you still want to go see it. He goes, I know I did it last year, so this year I came in with much more confidence. His teams are so prepared to play when they take the floor.
An 11-2 run right now for the Miami Heat to finally take the lead. Stan Van Gundy made a great point in our meeting with him before the game. He said, you always think you can do a better job of the guy above you. Then all of a sudden you're out there and the responsibility is yours.
Barry rushed that one. doing the rebound. Meanwhile, the other end, Greg Popovich's team coming off a good win against Golden State is Noliak tied up. They got lost badly. Woodruff with the steal. Oh, what a block from Allen. And Doolin just attacks Rose. Terrific hustle from Malik Allen to save an easy two. As Ulrich had a couple of steps on him.
We're seeing more and more blocks from behind in transition on the fly. Bader Ulrich is going to have to learn that he needs to jump from outside of the dotted line. He's making that layup a vertical jump instead of a horizontal jump, the way that Norm Nixon and John Stockton, a couple of legends from days gone by, taught us all how to play.
Duncan. Tough matchup for Allen. And Duncan with an easy two. Duncan now with 7 points, and the Spurs back up by 1. But Miami having tough.
The analytical approach to how to break down the opponent by Tim Duncan is exhilarating.
Poked away by Ginobili. Some quick hands and forces another turnover.
Ginobili's sense of anticipation. He is 3 steps ahead of every play. We got a ball game here at the SBC. Spurs on top by 1.
Here's Tim Legler in the studio with this Taco Bell update. Ron Artest taking time off from his music career.
Well, it obviously did him some good. He must be rested because he came out tonight shooting the ball extremely well. 22 points on 8 of 10 shooting.
Artest again outside the 3-point arc after sitting out 2 games, not suspended, but just getting a little rest. A huge lead for the Pacers. Meanwhile, Orlando's come back from down big. They now lead the Lakers by 5. Mike and Bill, back to you.
All right, John, seeing some of the scores, Bill. One of the fun things about the early in the season, he's still trying to figure out what team is capable of doing what. And there's been some interesting games already in terms of finding out, oh, they might be better than I thought.
How about Toronto? How about Seattle? Phoenix playing outstanding ball, particularly on the defensive end. What about the brilliance of the Utah Jazz and Andre Kirilenko?
But Toronto and Seattle are 2 teams that there were no expectations for, and they've had some nice wins already. Seattle, the only team to beat the San Antonio Spurs, as we have a defensive 3 seconds, so a technical foul.
And if Dallas is going to continue to shoot the ball the way they did last night in Miami, watch out for them. Dirk Nowitzki, that guy can play.
Greg Popovich knows his team is one of those right now is certainly one of the favorites to win the title. One of the reasons is that man, Manu Ginobili, who has had quite a summer. Won a gold medal for Argentina, the country's first ever Olympic medal in basketball. He also got married and signed that big deal. It's a pretty packed summer.
When the Spurs had their preseason tip-off luncheon, Tony Parker emceed it, and he was taunting Tim Duncan about Manu Ginobili's gold medal over the United States and Tim Duncan.
And Zori puts that in, but Ginobili's not one to do that. He's been very respectful and was not one to gloat. Although he told us he talks quite a bit with Andres Nocioni, the power forward for Argentina, who's now with the Chicago Bulls. Shot clock down to 7. Doolin fires a 3. Way off the mark.
Doolin, a free agent pickup after spending 4 years with the LA Clippers there. Career never really got on track the way they thought it would for the lottery pick.
And a foul! Manu Ginobili with a chance for the 4-point play.
Notice how the Spurs have picked up their game a little bit since Tim Duncan came back in. The shots just get a lot more wide open. 3-point shot by Manu Ginobili. All the attention in the paint by Tim Duncan. Everybody collapsing in the front. They only have to rotate in from the Greek side, and that brings Shaquille O'Neal quickly back into the fray.
So Eddie Jones with his 3rd foul, and as you saw, Allen was fronting Duncan, so Jones had to cheat down. Great spacing from the Spurs.
We talked about anticipation. The quickest player I ever played with was Larry Bird. Larry Bird, his sense of what was happening before anybody else knew it, that is what I see in Manu Ginobili.
So Bird was the
quickest player, even though he couldn't run faster than I can walk today. And I'm 52 years old, have had 32 operations, an endless string of stress fractures, and have 2 fused ankles. But Larry Bird, the guy, He just was so far ahead. He was like Bobby Fischer. He was like Gary Kasparov. He did it all.
A chess reference, of course, the Larry Bird reference, and a Jimi Hendrix reference, all in the first half. We've got a good second half for you, folks.
Just getting started here on a beautiful day in South Texas after lunch at Rosario's. A beautiful walk along the riverfront here in San Antonio.
Oh, I'm sorry I didn't mention all your different references. Goodness gracious. Sakes alive. Entry pass, O'Neal. Couldn't get to it. Good defense from Rasho Nesterovic. Ginobili cutting inside, finding an open ball, and that's a 2. And Duncan with the offensive board.
Just too much size, too much strength, too much position.
Bowen way off. Ginobili kicks it away from O'Neal. I believe that's Ginobili's second steal already.
Now that Popovich has Nesterovic and Duncan back in the lineup, things have really settled back into the natural order of things for the Spurs.
And a foul on Keon Dooley. Ginobili just creates such havoc on the defensive end.
His third year now, but you sense that this guy is just an exploding star, a comet streaking across the sky here. What's so impressive, Mike, is his use of the English language, his second language.
He's also one of the most humble players you'll find in the league. As Bowen can't connect, O'Neal tracks it down.
But he's got a lot of issues that he has to deal with, including security and safety for his family back in his hometown and country of Argentina.
Well, because of the financial problems in Argentina, there was a very interesting article in Sports Illustrated a couple of weeks ago that talked about, because now it's known how much he signed for, over $50 million. There's now talk, the police intercepted talk of a possible kidnapping situation regarding his father. The police had to come to the house. Security, he has since built an extra security system now in his parents' home because they're not going to do it. They're planted there in Lubbock. And he hits another 3. And the lead is up to 10 once again for the Spurs, 13 for Ginobili.
Well, sadly, in a country like Argentina, kidnapping is a growth industry.
But Ginobili not letting anything affect him on the floor, doing it at both ends. And Manu Ginobili on the verge of becoming an all-star in San Antonio. Helps the Spurs on a 12-1 run.
By Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. And Wrangler. Makers of Wrangler 5-star Relax Fit premium quality denim.
He's 27 years old. You see each year how much better he's getting and getting. He looks so carefree on the court, but Ginobili admits he's felt pressure since he entered the NBA.
First year, I wanted to show the whole world that I belong here. Second year, I wanted to fight for a contract, get a championship. This year, I want to show that I deserve that money. So I think every single year you have things to show, to another challenge. So pressure is always there.
A year ago, Manu Ginobili played in 77 games. He scored over 20 points 10 times. He's a guy who is going to be injured now and then. He's already got 20-plus points in 3 of the 4 games, and he is well on his way to that mark. Again, only 14 minutes, 13 points, perfect from the field.
Yeah, mostly say his best contribution is usually on the defensive end, as Udonis Haslem, meanwhile, makes a nice move, draws a foul on Duncan. Duncan's first, and Haslem with a chance for a 3-point play.
Ginobili set the tempo and pace early on. First play of the game, they rolled him into the low post. He hits a turnaround jumper right in Eddie Jones's face, the top defensive perimeter player for the Heat. Off to the races ever since. Strong rebound by Shaq.
O'Neal wants the ball. Nesterovic has done a pretty good job on O'Neal. As dueling over dribbling.
Nesterovic vastly over. He's so much improved from a year ago. Shaq just can't seem to get by Nesterovic.
Haslem is hammered. Udonis Haslem already with several offensive rebounds, 5 total. And he's going to go for 2 more free throws.
When Duncan went to the bench for his customary rest at the end of the first quarter, the Heat went on a 12-4 run in his absence. Since Duncan has come back, the Spurs have gone on a 12-4 run. This guy's got game.
Haslam, it's the first tomorrow on NBA TV. Lakers and the Rockets from Houston, 8:30 Eastern. And next Wednesday on ESPN, we'll be in Milwaukee as these Miami Heat will play the Bucks, 9 Eastern. And then next Thursday on TNT, the Spurs against the Sixers in Philadelphia, and the Knicks and the Rockets from Houston. So some good games coming up as Haslam, in just his second year, made the NBA All-Rookie second team. Knocks that one down. He's turning into a nice player. Not drafted a couple of years ago out of the University of Florida.
But he has the daunting task of playing against the true great ones in today's game. Garnett, Duncan, Rasheed Wallace getting better and better.
Kevin Brown in the game kicks it out. Shot clock winding down. Parker. And Rasul Butler with a quick outlet.
Miami has to somehow find a way to capitalize on Shaquille O'Neal.
And you got to love the fact, if you're San Antonio, how far out from the basket O'Neal caught that. Starovich is really working hard.
He's changing them up every single time, moving his feet, not just leaning and pushing.
Tough shot from Keon Doolin. And the Heat once again back within 3.
With Dwayne Wade sitting out here, this was the first week of the NBA season, Eastern Conference Player of the Week, but he averages like 11 free throw attempts a game. And that's what allows you to win and control tempo on the road.
Starovich not even close.
But he needs to take that shot to occupy Shaquille.
Haslam rushed that one. And Starovich with his 3rd rebound.
Relentless push of the ball, trying to wear down this Miami team that played last night and was routed on their home court in their first loss of the season.
Just under 4 minutes remaining here in the second. Miami Heat without Dwayne Wade. Hanging in. Triple team. Just a bad force pass that time. Parker to Bowen. Yes, you want to get it to Shaquille O'Neal, but you can't force it in.
You got to throw good passes. And the way that San Antonio is backing off, Dan Van Gundy has seen them out, and they need some serious adjustments at this time. I don't know if you can practice your passing during the 2-minute timeout that they have here. Shaq has 0 free throw attempts, and that is unacceptable for Stan Van Gundy.
Part of the reason is the defensive pressure on the Starovich.
One possession. Look how hard Rasheed Starovich forcing him to come away. They try the repost. He's back in front, jumping around. The arms up, shoulder height the whole time. Then he has to box him out once the shot goes up.
That can wear on. You see him. He keeps blowing and blowing. Looks like Dizzy Gillespie as he keeps going back and forth.
Who's Dizzy Gillespie? And then in transition, Tony Parker just running right by everybody. To be the fastest player end-to-end in the game. What a treat.
So the poor decision down the other end leads to an easy 2. But the Spurs lead is 5. Damon Jones, Udonis Haslam, Keon Doolin, Rasul Butler, and Shaquille O'Neal out there on the floor. Miami losing last night at home to the Dallas Mavericks by 20. Again, they lost Dwayne Wade in the 4th quarter with a sprained ankle. Doolin left-handed. O'Neal. And offensive interference.
Jimmy, excuse me, Mike.
My name's Mike. M-I-K-E.
You might have noticed that Jim Gray's not here tonight. We want to offer our congratulations to Jim, who's up in Colorado tonight, being awarded the Colorado Hall of Excellence, an honor that has been previously bestowed upon guys like Byron Whizzer White, Robert Redford, Hale Irwin, Glenn Miller, the big band leader. Jim will be back with us soon.
I tried to get Jim to have you as the presenter. The Starovich with a nice sweeping hook. And the lead for the Spurs up to 7. Again, now the Starovich fronting. Good help from Duncan. Offensive foul. Boy, excellent team defense from San Antonio.
Mike, the lob passes are too slow, and they're all banana arcs. This is a tough call. I'm not sure about this. Tim Duncan's running underneath from behind. You got to give a man a chance to land. Shaq had the initial position and move.
You have to be able to land and change direction.
You can't just come underneath them like that. I don't know about that. He trailed by 7. They need a lot of work.
Not quite the way we expected it. San Antonio trying to take over.
Well, the Heat are going to struggle without Dwayne Wade, but where's Greg?
You know, ever since he started recording that album, we don't know where he is, what he's doing, how to find him.
It's ridiculous.
Buy one, get one free. Come on. I wrote it, I produced it. Anybody want to buy it? Anybody? Somebody. Scream!
I suppose I'm supposed to say thank you. Meanwhile, the Spurs
I'll wait for the remainders.
Spurs lead the Heat. Let's look at that foul again. And watch there. It looks like Duncan doesn't get room, but the key on this one is watch O'Neal. He leads with the elbow. That's a good call. You can't come in with the elbow, even though he's right up.
His elbows were already out, and that's what you teach a big man to do. If you don't keep your elbows out, they're going to come in and smash you.
Well, I think that was different there. I thought he led with his Duncan gets it in.
It's okay to disagree, just don't be disagreeable.
Spurs back up by 9. And you see the matchup. O'Neal, a lot of rebounds, but Nesterovic has just done a tremendous job on it. Haslam not taking no for an answer. Duncan gets hit again. Duncan looking at O'Neal. Those two having some words now.
Duncan and Kobe Bryant got into it a week ago at Staples Center.
Those two have a lot of respect for each other. There's always been a very respectful relationship. There you see the elbow to Duncan after it. Didn't appear. It looked like he was just coming up high that time. Nothing intentional, at least not from that.
Pressure Nesterovic, who's not blessed with the great athleticism that so many of the top players in this league are. When you see a player extend his hands way up in the air before the opponent even goes into his move, you know that he's bailing out on the play already. That just invites the referee to anticipate that this guy feels he's in an already inferior position.
Haslam knocks down the free throws. Haslam with 11 points to lead the Heat. Back within 7. That last foul on Nesterovic is second. And Duncan hammered from behind.
And again, one of those banana arcing passes from the top from Tony Massenberg. Now, Miami has not been fronting that much, and they haven't been able to had to resort to throwing those type of passes the way the Heat have to Shaq.
Popovich and Joe Forte. Joe Forte, Monty McCutcheon, and Jason Phillips are 3 officials here tonight in San Antonio. Duncan from the line so far, 3 for 4. He's got 9 points and 5 rebounds. And a reminder, ESPN, more action next Wednesday night, 9 Eastern. These Heat, and Dwayne Wade expected to be back by then. They'll be in Milwaukee, take on Michael Redd and the Bucks. Heat and the Bucks Wednesday, 9 Eastern on ESPN.
Mike, we talked about the Spurs defense the whole time and the offensive struggles for the Miami Heat. The Heat have 14 field goals, but only 5 assists. And they have 10 turnovers, trying to play off the dribble far too much as Shaq roots Massenberg out of the way.
Rasul Butler can't connect, and O'Neal fouled on the rebound. Spurs now on the penalty. Bill, wouldn't you say that one of the reasons that Nesterovic is having success is the perimeter defenders for the Spurs are doing such a good job making the entry pass difficult?
When you're fronting like Nesterovic is, you've got to have your guards up pressuring that ball. If you allow a guy to stand out there and just see the whole play and just put it up there perfectly, you are dead in the water there.
Now O'Neal will go to the line where he has struggled to say the least. He is first well chronicled his free throw problems, but this year is even worse. And there you see, a couple of years ago it's 62%. Last year way down, and this year just at 35%.
That shot first trip to the line tonight, and that's in your face, man. When you call the guy out, you call him one of the worst free throw shooters in NBA history, and he goes up there and drains 2 on the road. What a back pass.
Another pretty assist. Boy, the traditionalists must love to watch the Spurs. They pass the ball so well.
Why are you limiting it to traditionalists?
Ginobili with the deflection. Parker, Brown running the floor on a foul on David Jones. He moved in. They're going to see if there was a goaltend, but I don't think so. That was on the way up.
It's not the referee who called the fouls call to make that goaltending call. McCutcheon and Forte have to come in and make that judgment.
Nope, didn't hit the backboard. He got it before. So 2 free throws for Devin Brown.
Devin Brown from San Antonio, the city itself where he played his high school ball, played his college ball right here. He's the leading scorer in San Antonio high school basketball history. Even greater than Shaquille O'Neal, who also played here at Cole High School.
Devin Brown not playing as many minutes. Had a nice playoff run last year, was a big part, but the presence of Brent Barry has minutes down a little bit right now. He's done a solid job when he's got the opportunity. There's Rasul Butler.
Hey, whatever happened to Eddie Jones?
3 fouls. You know Eddie Jones, the Miami Heat player, right?
Right. The one that needed to have a really good game tonight.
And O'Neal with the foul. Shaquille O'Neal will pick up the personal. And that's his 3rd. So O'Neal with 3. Eddie Jones with 3. And O'Neal's going to go to the bench with 1:07 left here in the second.
Fortunately, Stan Van Gundy has a very capable backup in Michael Doliak. A nice free agent pickup.
Doliak a different type of game certainly than O'Neal. Got a nice outside shot. First year in Miami. As Duncan way short that time.
So tell me who has a game like Shaq.
That was a stupid thing to say. I'll take it back.
Well, we're all guilty of that, saying, well, players like Shaq, or players like Kevin Garnett, or players like a Kobe Bryant. Nobody liked these guys, as well as this 2-time MVP, Tim Duncan, at the line right now.
Duncan struggling tonight from the line. He's 4 for 8. I meant to say it's almost 180 degrees different. It's such a different look going after the tip. That's what he likes to do. And he's good at it.
And they have to learn what his game is and what his skills are. I think that Doliak can play alongside Shaq and give them a bigger, more imposing front line.
Greg Popovich is going to use his 22nd timeout. Final minute, first half. Shaquille O'Neal with 3 fouls on the 46.3 seconds remaining. Second quarter from San Antonio, and the Spurs several times have had double-digit leads. Look like they're going to blow the game open, but Shaquille O'Neal and the undermanned Heat come right back every time.
Give the credit to the guys who have been able to stroke the ball from the perimeter for Stan Van Gundy. Damon Jones did a nice job. Malik Allen has made a solid contribution.
And Udonis Haslem, another good game, 11.6 rebounds here in the first half. He's had a nice start to his second season.
2 for 1 time if you're San Antonio.
And offensive foul call. Devin Brown goes barreling into Haslem.
And you wonder why coaches tear their hair out. You call a timeout to get that, a turnover.
No Dwayne Wade. O'Neal only 6 points. And the Heat right in this game in the final minute of the second quarter.
Jack playing many more minutes tonight than he's been accustomed to, only averaging about 27.5 minutes a game this year.
Ginobili in pursuit of Boone. Damon Jones hits another 3. That's his 3rd three-pointer of the half, and it's back to a 4-point game.
Wherever he's been, the guy has contributed. It's amazing a player like him cannot stay with one franchise for more than a year or so.
Shot clock is turned off. Malik Rose able to knock it down. And a ball knocked out of bounds off of Doolin's foot. Good defensive play from Rose. 1.8 remaining. Still plenty of time to get off a quality shot.
Dwayne Wade only wishes he could be out there playing. Look for Robert Horry on a 3-point step back here.
Horry, Haslem with a hand in his face. As Horry off the mark. And that will end the first half. Tim Duncan with a solid first half. Shaquille O'Neal did the job on the boards, but the Spurs defense was excellent in holding them to 6 points. Coming up at halftime, it's the Toyota Halftime Show. We'll head back to the studio.
Guard Shaq for San Antonio has really created big 6-point leads. Shaq only has 6 points. Nesterovic has given him all kinds of different looks. The length and size of Nesterovic and the quick feet, the ability to move his feet rather than reach, lean, and push, plus the horrendous post-entry passing that Shaq's teammates have given him. It's a very difficult call against Shaq. The teammates keeping Miami Heat and Shaquille O'Neal in this game. Haslem 11 points, perfect from the free throw line. Did a nice job on the boards as well. Damon Jones starting in place of Dwayne Wade, 3 for 3 from behind the arc, limiting Shaq to just 6 points. Fine job by the Spurs defense.
And without Wade, you have to do little things like hit your free throws. And Miami 10 for 10 from the line, including O'Neal hitting both of his free throws, and they're +8 in the rebounding over San Antonio. So we're set to start the third quarter. Meanwhile, O'Neal and Eddie Jones each with 3 fouls.